organized fighting force, and that's where we come in and we organize them to the best of our ability and train them. But the language barrier is a problem, even with the Terps, because a lot of things that we say doesn't actually translate to them. I mean, it took me like an hour and a half to teach them how to get in a formation.
We come into this country with our own set of ethics and our own set of morals, and to apply that to a culture that has a different set of ethics, a different religion, a different set of values is really difficult. And that's where SF earns their money.
The men obviously don't respect their women here. They try to pawn everything off on their women because they know we're not going to touch their women. We don't get near their women. A lot of times the women have things hidden on them. There's nothing we can do about that. We don't want to go across their customs and cultures, because then it wouldn't be a fight against Al-Qaeda, it wouldn't be a fight against Taliban. It would just be a guy defending his woman, and it's not worth it.
Resupply and reinforcements for Fire Base Harriman are hours away by air. But every 12-man Green Beret A-Team knows that their own initiative on the ground is the first line of defense to stop potential enemy attacks. This means knowing the area of operation intimately and being able to analyze information of suspected Taliban and Al-Qaeda whereabouts quickly and accurately. The response to good intelligence must then be immediate and aggressive. The Green Berets have to act before the enemy can disappear over the border into Pakistan.
Monty, this is Joey.
Today's mission is a raid on one of the many walled compounds that occupy the Afghan landscape.
Sheriff, I want that man and that man right there. Tell them when everybody comes out, they're to hold them right there and not let them go anywhere.
There were reports that there was Arabs inside the building. If they're Al-Qaeda, they're not coming out alive. So if you're not ready to go in and start doing what you have to do, someone's going to get hurt, and you don't want it to be your buddy.
This is the home of a mid-level Taliban military leader who is rumored to have stored a large weapons cache inside. Although the Taliban commander has gone into hiding in Pakistan, the Green Berets are in a race against time. They want to find the weapons before the local warlord does.
Tell them to open the door. Sheriff, tell that lady to open the door right now. If she doesn't open that door in 1 minute, I'm going to blow it off the hinges. I'm going to blow that door up.
For the Green Berets, the roles of nation builders and gunfighters coexist.
Which means they're in there hiding.
They must be able to switch between them as the situation demands, often at a moment's notice.
Did you see another door around the back?
Their survival may depend on it.
I'm going to go gain entry to this building, dude. I'm not going to wait for this woman to open this door. Come on. No, I'm taking Jim or Monty, one of you guys. Have 4 of the AMF go to the other side of the building and not to let anybody in or out.
Al-Qaeda has definitely changed their tactics. And you have to understand that when we say Al-Qaeda, we're not talking about the army. This is a loose organization that morphs and changes based on whatever suits it. They're very adaptable. You have to be able to adapt your tactics to what they're doing. They are a formidable force and they know what they're doing.
The Green Berets have no way of knowing what lies inside the walls of the compound.
I don't give a damn, who are you?
It could be an unarmed family,
Tell me to get back in the f***ing truck.
or a hostile and heavily armed cadre of Al-Qaeda.
Move! Move! Where's Sheriff?
The thing that we've run into is when we knock on these doors, the men will stand at the door and the women will start hiding stuff. If you don't start going in the door as quickly as possible, then it's harder to find stuff. They try to hide things. That's the main reason. And you just gotta always be prepared for the worst to happen.
The Taliban and Al-Qaeda will use these walled compounds as hideouts or as a place to conceal weapons, with or without the consent of the occupants, who are often threatened if they refuse to cooperate.
Hey, if someone's in here, you need to come out. Some of the elders that run the villages, they know it's dangerous. They don't want to get repercussions from the Americans that they have weapons. So they may send somebody from their village to contact Americans and tell them, hey, there's some weapons hidden over here. And we come get him, and he's happy because he doesn't have the rockets anymore, he doesn't have machine guns, everything's gone, and he doesn't lose any face because Americans took it and he didn't give it to him. Tell him you better watch that dog or kill him if it tries to bite me.
Aside from the politics of the search, the tension inside the walled fortress grows. The men are wary of booby traps, and when they encounter a large dog, the stress comes to a boiling point.
Get that dog. Get the dog.
The dogs here in Afghanistan are not like American dogs. They're not domesticated. They will not hesitate to bite you in an instant. We've had many incidences, we've gone into compounds, even driving around, that dogs have tried to bite us. So that's one of our biggest fears when we go in, is to know where the dogs are. There's nothing funny about a dog coming up and tearing you up.
With security established, the search now begins.
Tell them I want the weapons buried in the ground.
You should research my house.
I'm gonna search your towers, and I'm gonna have a metal detector. I'm gonna detect if you buried shit. Boca? All right.
We got a hole. Ask that man if there's anybody down here. If I run into anybody down here, I'm going to shoot him. No, I'm going to go. Ask him if anybody's down here.
It's a tunnel. It's probably a tunnel to a well. Yeah, water. Ubo. Hobo. Hey, Larry, let's check this out. It's going crazy over here.
Might want to sweep with the detector there.
Looks like it's been dug up.
Well, no, it just looks like it could be dug up. He's got a big pot plant out front.
So if ZK's already been here, he's probably taken everything they already have.
ZK gets around.
Well, he used to, not anymore. He's in hiding because we're after him. That's
I wouldn't mind
pot.
a team picture next to the
That's
dope
pot.
plant, though.
Hey, let's get a picture by it.
Okay.
Everybody take a picture. Look at DEA too.
No weapons are found, but it's obvious there were weapons here, and recently. The special forces want to know if it was Al-Qaeda or the local warlord who removed them. They question the nephew.
Ask them what the Arabs wanted when they came here. Yeah, I know about them. I know about the Arabs that come here. I know that shit. The problem here is some of the information you get isn't true. You have to take some of the information you get with a grain of salt, because you may have one warlord trying to take out another warlord. So you just question them, try to catch them in a lie. What about the PKM ammo? Yeah, the machine gun ammo. I know Arabs visited. I know there's a Taliban Hilux right over here. I know there's weapons buried here.
Both the local warlord and the Arabs have been here already, and the weapons are gone. The nephew denies knowing anything about machine gun ammunition or marijuana plants. It's a dead end.
Hey, ask him where the Taliban Hilux is now. Which compound?
Today was unsuccessful, but 3 weeks after this patrol was filmed, 20 Taliban suspects are seized nearby, inside a warehouse filled with munitions and weapons. The local warlord, along with his brother, eventually flees the area to avoid arrest. This is a war of patience and force, information and planning, treachery and trust. This is the war that the SF fights every day in the war on terror.
I'm on my way to you.
Once we leave the region, it'll be unstable again. But Orgoon is a safer place to live for the women and children and the men that live there now. We're not going to be able to change a culture within 6 months, a year, however long. It's going to take a while for people to start respecting each other as human beings. It's not as dangerous as it was 7 months ago, but it's still not safe.
I think eventually, in the end, if we get the government structured properly and get them all working as a nation instead of as tribes individually, I think things will work out here.
Any country with a large urban population is a potential sanctuary for terrorist cells. Mixing into the landscape, using innocent people to cover their activities, is a traditional guerrilla tactic. Urban warfare requires a totally different approach to locating and attacking an enemy. Identifying the bad guys hiding among an innocent populace is the ultimate challenge in unconventional warfare.
You spot the enemy. In the old days, you probably saw them in a free fire zone, and you were allowed to bring all of your power to bear to deal with the enemy. Today, there's no such concept as free fire zone. Today, there needs to be a very, very strict rules of engagement that each of the operators deal with. They are, in fact, briefed by lawyers before they go onto an operation.
We can't just train for an all-out free-for-all zone that they had, say, in World War II. So much more of the things that we get involved in now. You have civilians that are living there. You have very strict rules of engagement. It takes a lot of restraint, and it takes a lot of awareness of your surroundings.
Rules of engagement are set, they're set. If I'm going into a situation, let's say I'm doing a dynamic entry into a building, once I'm inside that building and I'm doing that dynamic entry, the decision process is going to be up to the operator himself.
All clear!
Now, that takes a lot of training, and it takes a lot of decision process, especially when you're coming into the unknown, because 95% of the time we don't have the layout of a building. You don't know what you're going against, or intel may say it might be a family.
To combat the threat of state-sponsored terror and religious extremists requires dedication, concentration, and specialized training. It requires every special operations soldier to understand the enemy's mindset.
We definitely need to open our eyes. There are educated people out there obtaining information on very serious weaponry capable of injuring masses in cities, towns, villages, countries. To put your mindset on the level of a terrorist, you have to think of the things that they know. Their mindset is to kill innocent people, to attack the areas that maximize their kill zone, and to create fear. In the Art of War, Sun Tzu says, how do you defeat a great world power? You defeat him from internal, turning the populace into scared people that run around and don't know what to do from day to day.
Operating in an urban environment is a fact of life for counter-terrorist forces. It creates unique demands on units who must seek out and engage their enemies. Controlled aggression is a mainstay for special operations troops.
This philosophy that we're trying to teach when we try to get guys out there moving is to think on their own, to look around and see what it is that needs to be done and do it. We don't want to teach them if this, then that. We want to teach them to think their way through a fluid environment, like an urban environment.
I thought it looked real good, guys. Let's go ahead and we'll get ready and we'll do another one.
Training has become more intense. It's also gotten to the point where we're working in probably a little bit bigger units. Training has gotten more technical. There's new equipment out there. And just because you have it as the good guys, nothing stating the bad guys don't have it.
Training in mock urban settings, Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, Delta Force Commandos, and Special Forces work regularly on moving, shooting, and concealment in order to survive the dangers that can lurk inside every building.
Guys have to be that much more aware of what it is that's going on. They have to be aware of their surroundings. We want to try and get them thinking on their feet.
Each operator has to be trained to be an independent thinker, a person that can react on his own each and every time as the situation changes.
Certainly there's always the possibility where enthusiasm could overcome capability, but we don't do that in special operations. Hope is not a method, nor is enthusiasm.
In urban combat, training an armed group of men to perform hostage rescue inside small rooms and fight and move inside buildings requires each team member to react